Shalom, shalom, shalom. Just a quick hit. um, as we watch this separation from Babylon, we see these nations beginning to pull away, to make allegiances, alignments. Um, you know, coming together to fulfill prophecy. As we see this MOTB being made manifest more and more to the point where the denial of it is going to be, it's going to reveal a person's wickedness, their intentions, the intentions of their heart, which is their mind. It's going to reveal, whether or not they took the bag, who it is that they're in allegiance with, you know, all of these things are swiftly moving into position. So as you can see, and I'm not really going to play these videos, I'm just going to let you see the caption or the title, but as necessary, we're displaying our fair use so that we're not uh what's the word, tagged, so to speak. But before we start, as always, we want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the house of David, the 144,000, the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you, I say shalom. So I was just kind of looking at some of these this morning, and this is Singapore to end trade ties with the U.S. PM Lawrence Wong's big reveal, Trump tariffs, N18G. These nations are beginning the process. That separation, that they're moving out of alignment with the U.S. and its policies. And we understand that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is maneuvering all of this, but he's using the ignorance and stupidity of Esau Edom, and to make this happen. He's using this man to bring himself, down. He's not, because we also know that, hey, his own weapons that he created are what's going to be used, to bring about his demise. The things that he used to rule the earth with, to threaten the world, to keep the world in a perpetual state of obedience to him for fear of what he may or may not do, But with the little megalomaniac that they have in office and his minions that are about him, and none are or giving him sound advice. It's like the oh, what was that? Let me see if I can find that. But this is Jeremiah 49:7. It reads, concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. And we understand that, hey, that visitation is close. The Spirit of the Most High has already begun the visitation. When his right arm descends from the clouds and brings that full level of visitation upon him, man, you know, Esau is his destruction is imminent. You know, there we go. I just want to get this. Let me see if I can find Salakia. Right. So essentially, he's this little orange Chitolini. He's in a similar situation as Rehoboam in the fact that he's not receiving counsel from the seniors, those that are have been those that have been he's taken upon himself to get counsel from the the YNs. He's not taking wise counsel, and we know, you know, says thy father made our, this is 1 Kings 12:4, and it reads, thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we shall serve thee. And we know he had him depart. And this is it right here. 1 Kings 12:6, and King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, how do ye advise that I may answer his people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto his people this day, and will serve them and answer them and spake good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. And he said unto them, what counsel give ye that I may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? And essentially that's the part I want. He basically, this individual who's running this place now, he essentially he's forsaking the council, you know and as I showed, like I said, I'm not going to play these, but hey, we have the separation of these nations, man. These nations are beginning to remove themselves, to remove their ties with Babylon. You know, you have the Canadians. Their Liberal Party wins Canadian elections as Trump's annexation threat continues to raise concerns. So these nations, the leaders of these nations, are those that oppose this America. You know, and there's always, because and none of these people move in the fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But here we always like to begin in Proverbs 9:9, which says, give instruction to a wise man and he will be yet wiser. And we understand that, hey, there's no more wisdom in Teman. And although, Trump is a rich man, so people will listen to a rich man. Doesn't have to be wise or not, doesn't have to be intelligent or not. He just has money. He has wisdom and wickedness. Wisdom, and honestly, those that know, this man is no great businessman. He was given a fortune. He squandered much of it. It's probably the powers that be around him that insisted that, hey, bro, you just be the face. We'll let you be the face, but we're gonna handle all of the day-to-day minutia to keep this place afloat and keep from going under. Because this man is, in a world where the house always wins, how do you bankrupt the casino multiple times? Anyway, I digress. This is says give instruction to a wise man and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man and he will increase in learning. The fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. And we know these people, they lack all of that. They lack all aspects of that. It says, this is Isaiah 13. You'll start at 11. It says, I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And we know that no one's more proud than an American, and none more proud than Esau Edom. I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. None is more terrible than Esau Edom. None has a higher murder rate on the planet than Esau. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. It shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee away, one into his own land. And soon these things also, the nations, as they separate, they're going to begin to tell their people, look, it's time to, time to get up out of there. Time to, it's time to separate yourselves from Babylon. The Most High is stirring up these nations to come against her, you know, and much of Israel is going to suffer as these things begin to, because no one is linked tighter to Esau Edom than these 2/3, man. These 2/3 would rather lose, not receive, miss salvation than have anything happen to their master, you know, to have anything go, their master is the most important thing, it's uncanny. So they're going to be joined with them, and hey, what does it say? Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So, hey, you 2/3, you people steady advocating for you know what I mean, a continual connection with Esau Edom. You Man, hey, that's the reason why Esau tell you to stay out of the Old Testament, because you're going to be completely oblivious as the times come upon you, and we're in those times. You know what I mean? And the pinnacle of those times is quickly approaching. But these nations are separating. It says, this is Jeremiah 51. We'll start at 5, and it reads, "For Israel hath not been forsaken." Doesn't say the whole world. Doesn't say any. It says, "For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power. For Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai of hosts, through their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel." Hey, that's Yahweh Shai, the Holy One of Israel. It says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense." Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai's hand, that made all the earth drunken. All of the earth is following after this whore, doing what this whore does, being like this whore is, taking the ideas of this whore and introducing them into their own land, you know, and now many of these nations are seeing the end result of their actions, and they're sick, you know. It says, "The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." And we're going to get the definition of that mad.
Strong's H 1984. Halal. Halal.
It says, to make a fool of, make into a fool, to act madly, act like a madman. No, I went, let's see. Yeah, that was it.
Strong's H 1984. Halal. Halal.
So, hey, the nations are in a state of confusion, in a state of, what I mean, they're angry. They've seen the end result of what the wine of Babylon has done to their people. And, many of them are bringing about that separation from Babylon. They no longer want to drink of that wine. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. And we understand, what these make America great again. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? America's in its weaning years. It's declining. It's declined. It's in full on decay. Infrastructure is decaying. Its people are in decaying. Everything about this place, it's sick. It says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. You know, hey, essentially, we're seeing the beginning moments of the separation from Babylon. You know, and the last of them that's gonna want to do it, but when they finally get the hint that they should be separated, it's gonna be too late. And they're gonna be consumed with Babylon, and that's these 2/3. Only Israel, man. It's mind-boggling. And we read, this week at camp, the degree of degeneracy of Israel, man, and its whoredoms. It's it's yeah. I'm not gonna go through it, but our people, man, just gonna have to learn the hard way. You know, like the beloved Apostle Gabar always says, hey, what words don't teach, adversity will. So this isn't going to be a long one. I just wanted to hit those two sites, show hey, that the separation of this place is beginning. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, and it reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." So with that, I'm going to close by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahakadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders, bishops, men of great millstone. Peace and blessings to the house of David, the hopeful elect, the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. of the hopeful elect. To you, I say shalom.